Thank you all very much for joining me in this inaugural press conference for End Gun Violence Michigan. Now wait as everyone's joining. The number of people who are coming to be with us today, so this is fabulous. Thank you, friends. I'm going to go just a few more bits. All right. Okay, here we go. My name is Bonnie Perry, and I am the Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Michigan. And before I go farther, let me just explain how our call is going to work. Following me, there'll be 6 speakers. These speakers will include people who have been directly affected by gun violence. After 10, 15 minutes of prepared remarks and questions, we'll open it up for questions. We'll take questions first from the media. I invite you to put your question into the chat and we'll pull it out of that when I call for questions. And then after the media, we'll then open it up to the larger public. And once again, thank you so much for being here. We are here on the 14th day of February, Valentine's Day, not by accident, because this is the 4th anniversary of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting in Parkland, Florida. 17 people were killed that day. 17 were wounded. And what has changed since then? We have more dead students. Now, even here in Oxford, we have more dead young people in our cities and in our schools. And as a person of faith, and all of you, people of goodwill, we and I can no longer stand by and watch our legislators do nothing. At our State House, bills for sensible gun legislation have been introduced. And we are here to say, Senate Majority Leader Shirkey, Speaker of the House Wentworth, give these bills a hearing and then let our legislators vote their conscience. And if you don't, then we may have to go around you and do it ourselves by a possible ballot initiative. Friends, we can make common sense changes that respect the rights of gun owners and keep our children alive, safe. We can end gun violence in Michigan. And for more information, I invite you to go to www.endgunviolencemichigan. And now what I'd like to do is introduce to you a young person who is tired of waiting for adults to take action. This is Ms. Jayanti Gupta, and Jayanti is from Troy, Michigan at the International Academy. Jayanti, please speak with us.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. As you all know, my name is Jayanti Gupta, and I am the current national movement organizer and the previous co-state director of March for Our Lives Michigan. I joined with a mission to protect myself, my loved ones, and the young people of this country from gun violence. On the day-to-day, this consists of organizing other youth activists. We walk out of class, sign petitions, rally outside of our politicians' offices pleading with them to protect us, and write pages upon pages of legislative agendas. I am part of the post-Columbine generation, a generation where school shootings are so normal, we practice for them. We're instructed to use our desks as shields and to barricade doors. We're using the very textbooks and pencils that should be teaching us the joys of learning as weapons of self-preservation at a moment's notice. I'm here to say that isn't normal. This is deeply sick. A whole generation of young people have been traumatized by the impact of these constant shootings and by our government's continuous inaction. Schools should be a place for us students to follow our passions, fall in love with learning, and become the leaders of tomorrow, not fear for our lives. Instead of teaching students how to survive a school shooting, we should be doing everything we can to prevent them from happening. That's why I'm proud to speak for the young people of this state. If the legislature won't act, then we're ready to put on our marching shoes, get out our clipboards, and put gun violence on the ballot. But we can't do it without you all. That's why it's important to start having conversations surrounding gun violence prevention with your family. If you're able to, donate to survivors and their victims' families. Give to gun violence prevention organizations of your choice. Write to elected officials and speak up at town hall meetings. But above all else, do something. Our leaders have failed us. And so we're left wondering, who will be next? We can't afford to wait and find out. Now I want to introduce someone who's been deeply impacted by this. Kiley Myrand, a student at Oxford High School. I just want to say before you start how honored we are that you're joining us. Thank you for being so brave and telling your story to others. Kiley?
Thank you. Hello, I'm Kiley Myrand, and I'm a junior at Oxford High School. November 30th started like any other day and unfortunately ended like my worst nightmare. When the first shots were heard, thankfully I was already situated in my classroom. I got a call from my boyfriend. He was screaming at me to run. I told him I cannot, and we were going into lockdown. Realizing possibly what could have happened, I frantically texted my brother. He is a freshman at the high school and was a lot closer to the incident than I was. I waited 3 minutes for him to respond saying he was okay. That 3 minutes was the scariest 3 minutes of my life. After he responded, I was relieved only for moments until I heard shouting in the hallway outside my classroom. I was handed textbooks to try and counter the shooter if he got past the locked doors and barricaded desks. I was trembling, holding a textbook, just knowing that this is what we have been trained for since whenever I can remember. I was in the classroom in lockdown for about an hour, and we were released to Meyer. I reunited with my dad, and as he took me into the most revealing hug, he started sobbing. It is a very humanizing and scary experience seeing your dad cry, especially from a hug. It made it so much real than anything else could have. Seeing the emotion from him, someone I looked to as being strong and stable, crying like that. Trying to take mental notes of who I saw or got a text back from, my heart sank realizing my close friend Tate did not text me back. Unfortunately, our friend Tate had not texted anyone back. We waited and waited, thought of different scenarios. His phone died, he dropped his phone, but one scenario terrified us the most, and that was that he was one of the 4 dead from the shooting. Tate had a very bright future, much like Hannah, Madison, and Justin did. His precious life and others were taken decades too soon, and it breaks my heart to think about. No one my age should experience losing a friend, especially losing a friend in this way. No one my age, younger or older, should experience having lost a loved one this way. In moments of tragedy, Oxford has found the light and the love. Our community is standing together, hugging each other. People from around the world are sending us so much love. The amount of love, thoughts, and prayers that are coming our way is very overwhelming. I am so grateful for everyone who is reaching out to Oxford. But Oxford isn't the same without those 4 kids. Things are different and things need to change. I will never understand how a 15-year-old could go into a gun store, point at the weapon of choice, and then days later use it to kill 4 students. Tate was going to be one of my forever friends with his goofy and dedicated personality, and our time together ended far too soon. This is why I'm talking to you all today, saying as a survivor and as a mourning 16-year-old girl, that something needs to change now. I personally believe the first step in this difficult battle is safe storage gun laws. Change must happen. Thank you for listening to my story.
Pastor Kiley, thank you. Thank you so very much. I know you have to go back to class. Pastor Barry.
Yes, thank you very much, Kiley, and thank you very much, Bishop. My name is Barry Randolph, and I'm the priest and pastor of Church of the Messiah. We're located on the east side of Detroit in a neighborhood called Island View. As a pastor, I want to be able to do the wedding ceremonies for our young people. I want to do weddings, but unfortunately, sometimes I have to bury our young people. One such young lady whose wedding ceremony I won't be able to officiate is Francesca Marks. Francesca Marks is the daughter of Sherri Scott. Sherri Scott is a chaplain at the church and a member. Sherri, would you please take a few moments and tell us about the death of your daughter, Francesca Marks?
Scott. And on August 3rd, 2019, my daughter decided to take her children to the park, and she wanted to barbecue, let her kids play at the park, because that's what parks are for, to go out and enjoy your families. And she barbecued, and as she was packing up, there was a fight at the basketball court. And the guys decided to go wherever they went, got some guns, came back, and started shooting at the park. My daughter ran to save her baby, but in the process, she got gunned down. And her last words were, "I think I've been shot." So when she collapsed, her twin sister was giving her CPR. And unfortunately, my daughter still passed away at the hospital. My daughter left 7 children. 3 of them would not even have a memory of their mother. And she was going to marry her fiance the following year, and that's not going to happen at all. And through this tragedy right here, I decided to become a chaplain, first responder chaplain, so I would be able to help other families, other victims of gun violence or domestic violence, just other families deal with these issues and be able to help them through it. And I also teach other chaplains how to be able to go out and help other families. People have to understand, when you go to the park, you go there to enjoy your life, not have your life taken away. Now, my grandchildren are afraid to go to the park. They don't want to go to the park because they're scared they're going to get shot. This is a joy taken away from them, something that should have never happened at all. This gun violence has to stop. Thank you for listening.
Sherri, thank you very, very much. And we hold Francesca and the promise of what would have been. My colleague, Bishop Kreiss, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Don Kreiss. I serve as the Bishop of the Southeast Michigan Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. I want to add my thanks to Bishop Paris for Sherri and Kiley sharing what they've been through. And I want to share a couple numbers with you. First, 1,200 people are killed every year in Michigan by guns. Almost 90 of those killed are children. No person of faith should accept this loss. No person of conscience should accept this loss. Second, we know that African Americans in Michigan are 27 times more likely to die of gun violence than white folks. Pastor Barry mentioned that killing has gone on so long in his community that it hardly makes the news anymore. We're called to hold these numbers in our hearts and understand that if we are committed to racial equality, then we must also be committed to working together to end the horrible violence that plagues the African American community, all of our communities. So what we're doing today is announcing an End Gun Violence Michigan. This committee will do 5 things. First, we're going to try to make our legislature do its job. Look, we want to respect people's rights to gun ownership, particularly in a state with such an important tradition of hunting. Most gun owners are responsible. We just want to ensure that every gun owner acts like a responsible gun owner. If our legislature can pass common sense gun violence prevention laws, that's the best way for us to move ahead. And there'll be lobby days that you've seen in the feed on February 23rd and April 13th. 2, we'll evaluate whether a ballot initiative is feasible by conducting polling and research. 3, we'll spend the next 12 to 18 months listening to communities identify their needs and building teams of networks, building teams of volunteers to network around the state. 4, we'll be conducting policy research about what the most effective gun violence prevention methods are and what we can legally accomplish on a ballot. And 5, we'll be raising the resources we need to move ahead. Now, over the next year or so, if we see that the legislature has not taken action to protect our communities, and we think we have what it takes to win, then we will launch a ballot initiative. Now, you can go to www.endgunviolencemichigan.org to find out more and to sign up, to find out ways you can be involved. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to hand things off now to Mia Reid from the Charles W. Reid Community Help Center.
Thank you so much, Bishop. I am just taking in all of these stories that we've been listening to. This is heavy. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mia Reid. I'm the CEO of the Charles W. Reid Community Help Center. I got involved with this issue because every day, every single day in this country, well over 100 people are killed due to gun violence. And as Bishop Kreiss said, Blacks are disproportionately impacted by gun violence and are 10 times more likely than whites to die. I know this to be true. I know this to be true because my firstborn, my only son, and his cousin were taken due to gun violence on June the 26th, 2011. This has devastated our family. Gun violence broke my heart. But I'm here to tell you today, it did not break me. Out of this tragedy, I have spent the last decade working to make sure that what happened to my son and what happened to my cousin's son does not happen to anyone else. I have become a licensed professional counselor, and I am certified in grief and trauma because people need help. They are impacted, and it lasts. It does not go away. In honor of my son, I have created the Charles W. Reid Community Help Center. We have all heard why we need to take action over and over and over. So the next question is, how are we going to do it? There are many policies to protect our communities that so far the legislature has refused to even take a vote on. Measures like universal background checks and safe storage laws to prevent children from accessing firearms. That's common sense. These measures are really popular. Multiple surveys have shown 90% support for universal background checks and 80% support for safe storage laws. Even the majority of gun owners support these laws. There are lots of other great ideas that can also reduce gun violence too, like increased mental health funding, returning citizen reentry programs, violence intervention, and so much more. And we support all of these. However, we must also focus on the things we can do to pass common sense laws about the guns themselves. For the next year, we are going to be testing ideas. We are going to be seeing if there are others that make sense. We are going to be doing everything we can to make the biggest difference that we can. So today, right now, right here, we call on our legislators to pass these popular reforms like universal background checks and safe storage laws. Now, not later. We need this done now. We need to save lives now, today. Otherwise, we might just have to do it ourselves. Thank you.
Mia Reid, thank you very, very much for your story and for your work and your leadership in this issue. Friends, I want all of us to be leaders in this issue. I want us to be the people of goodwill, the people of faith who will not stand by any longer. So things you can do, you can sign up for www.endgunviolencemichigan.org. You can donate. You're able to donate on that page. And we've got 2 events happening that I really want you to know about. February 23rd, March for Our Lives Michigan will be having a lobby day at our state legislature. And that's for young people to go and speak with their legislators so that they hear them, listen to them. And then on April 13th, we will have another lobby day. And for those of you who happen to be Christian, this is in the middle of Holy Week. And I think it's perfect because I can't imagine another time when we should be spending time with our legislators, asking them to give hearings and then to vote their conscience for the sensible gun laws that we have that have been introduced. We can do this. We can pass common sense gun reform that protects our communities and honors responsible gun owners. We can do this, Michigan. We can do this. And I'm going to open it up for questions from the press. If you'll put your questions into the chat, please. All right, you guys are typing. There'll also be a press release that will go out right after this, containing names of all the folks that you've heard speaking. All right, I'll open it up for other questions in the chat, please, friends. Okay. I'm getting, Kiley is not going to be able to answer any direct questions. She's gone back to class, and I know that she's also not taking questions. Okay, and question about what specific reforms are we considering? We're not going to reinvent the wheel. There are some very helpful, sensible bills that are in our legislature right now. Bills that would call for universal background checks, bills that really would call for safe storage. That is a huge priority of ours. We feel like safe storage can make a huge difference. It's been passed in the state of Florida and has made a cut the number of young people's deaths by gun by 50%. So we know that that works. We're also looking at red flag for domestic violence. And then I know that there is a bill in the state capitol now, in the state legislature, that's been proposed to prevent guns to be carried at the state capitol. So, but mostly what we want to do is listen and learn. We know these bills have already been proposed. What we're asking for is that they get hearings and then votes. So, let's see. All right. Here we go. There's a question about gun organizations. We have a great number of our folks who are involved in this are gun owners. And I am delighted and happy. I know our group is happy to meet with any gun organizations that would like to meet with me. You can reach me at Bishop Perry at edomi.org. Just go to the Diocese of Michigan webpage. You can get me. Be delighted to meet with folks because I want to learn and listen. Let's see. And the question would be about this in terms of about if our legislators failed to act, if Speaker of the House Wentworth and Senate Majority Leader Shirkey fail to have hearings and fail to call for votes, then we would look at a ballot initiative. We may be considering a ballot initiative for 2024. Let's see. All right, that is what I am seeing. And I think, friends, the way to begin this is by conversations with your communities, conversations with maybe your parent-teacher organizations, conversations in your communities of faith, conversations with the folks who are your neighbors. I think that's how this begins. This is not, these are sensible requests, safe access, safe, so that we prevent young people having access. That's what we're talking about. All right. So friends, we gathered. Thank you so much for coming and being with us. And we continue forward. Please look for our website. And if you want more information, please sign up there for our newsletters, and we will continue on. And feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on this call. Thank you very, very much. And I would like to end, please, with a moment of silence, for a minute of silence for all of the folks who have died by being shot. Holy One, give to us in our work boldness born of grace, courage born of wisdom, and strength born of love. Thank you, friends. Take care. Be well.